of course, the Hokies fall to 6-7. The offseason was pretty tumultuous last year concerning off-the-field issues on the coaching staff, and then an array of injuries that no team should have to suffer through even before there was one snap of the football. And then some issues and injuries during the season. So they finished 6-7. We've got William and Mary, Old Dominion, Liberty, and then a game against Notre Dame in which Virginia Tech lost at home. This year, they travel to South Bend next year. Just kind of an way too early look at the Hokies for 2019.
Well, they got a lot of productivity coming back, a lot of production, both sides of the football. It's going to be an open quarterback competition in the spring. You have Ryan Willis coming back for his senior season. You have Josh Jackson, who's been injured, returning from a broken ankle. He'll be back in the mix. Obviously, had a strong 2017 and was off to a pretty good start this season before getting hurt. So you have him returning. You have Quincy Patterson, who's going to be a redshirt freshman, was able to keep his redshirt eligibility, former Elite 11 prospect, really promising future, just considering the tools that he has. He'll be in the mix as well. There's another guy, Hendon Hooker, who's coming into his redshirt sophomore campaign. I think he'll likely be on campus still in the spring. I'd be surprised if he's still on campus in the fall. He's a definite transfer candidate for the Hokies, considering the depth that they have at quarterback, and his skill set is one that doesn't really lend itself to Fuente's system. Although Hooker is a mobile guy, he's seeing that, his time as a backup quarterback, kind of spread thin, just given the fact they've been trying to give Quincy Patterson some looks in some of the games. So, it's a crowded quarterback room. Hendon Hooker's a really talented prospect. I think he'll head elsewhere. But if you look at Virginia Tech's schedule, you mentioned the non-conference schedule. They have Furman, they have Old Dominion. It's a weaker schedule next season, so I think it plays well to the Hokies, just given the production that they have returning on both sides of the football. They go to Miami, which should be a tough game if Miami returns to form. They go to Georgia Tech, which is always a tough game. They're at Boston College, and Boston College has a lot of guys coming back on both sides of the football. They do go to Notre Dame. Notre Dame should be a top 10 team again next year. So, they have some winnable ACC games. Outside of the conference, though, it should be pretty smooth sailing outside of that Notre Dame game in early November. I'm really interested to see what the Hokies do next season. I think the defense will be better. I think they have a lot of talent there on that side of the football that needs to grow up pretty quick. But I think that they do have potential to be pretty good there. Bud Foster, it's like I mentioned before, it's very rare that he has two poor defenses in a row, but the defense was so bad this past year that it makes you wonder, how much better is this group going to get, even if there is improvement. I think that Virginia Tech's a 7 or an 8 win program right now. I think it's going to take them a little bit to build themselves and dig themselves out of that hole. I think they have a lot of talent on this football team. The staff continues to recruit very well for Virginia Tech, but the issue is that you have a lot of young guys being thrust into positions that they're not quite ready for right now, specifically on defense, that really makes you wonder how good they're going to be and how quickly they're going to be good. I think if you give it another year or two, Virginia Tech will be back to 8, 9, 10 win Virginia Tech that's competing for Coastal Division titles. I know it's really tough for the fan base to hear, but it's kind of where we're at right now. These young guys are really young. They were specifically on defense. They were put into positions where they were not ready this year, and they had to be ready. And it's one of those things where, it's going to be valuable experience moving forward for this defense, but to expect Virginia Tech to all of a sudden be a top 10 defense again next year after struggling the way that they did this year is a lot to ask for. But I think 2-3 years from now, this will be one of the top defenses in college football, like they've been throughout the majority of Bud Foster's tenure. And I think if you have that, with the talent they have on the offensive side of the football, the guys they continue to recruit, the offense continues to get faster, specifically at receiver. I think that helps a whole lot. And you've seen some promise in the running game here in the latter portion of the season that, I think improvement, not only is it a priority, but it should be expected just given what they've done on that side of the football in the latter part of the season. So the Hokies will be better next year. They will be another year older. How much better is the real question. They have the soft schedule, though, overall, where I think that they can get to 7, 8, maybe 9 wins next season. But to expect them to kind of compete against a team like Clemson on the other side of the ACC, I still think we're a few years away from anything remotely close to that.